everybody. I'm back from vacation and now I'm so excited to be here with you because we have a very important study. We're going to be talking about who is that man-child in Revelation chapter 12, verse 5. Now on this channel, we teach that there are 3 raptures. Here's why. Many people see verses and passages that depict a pre-trib rapture, while others see verses that depict a mid-trib rapture. And then there's other people who see passages and verses for towards the end of Daniel's 70th week, we call it post-trib. Well, there's a reason why there are these differences in opinions, and it's because all 3 are true. And what is keeping people from seeing that there are 3 raptures? Well, misinterpreting Revelation chapter 12, verse 5, and who that man-child is, that is contributing to all this confusion. All right, let me read that verse to you. Revelation 12:5, King James Version. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. Okay, that word caught up, oh, we love that word. It's harpazo. It's Strong's number G726. And just in case you don't know what it means, because many people are new to learning Bible prophecy, it means to seize, to catch away, to pluck, to pull, to take by force. Now, if you have a Latin Vulgate, you'll see the word rapturo. So when people say that you'll never find the word rapture in our Bible, well, it's because they don't have the Latin Vulgate. And if they did, they would see that word rapturo. Okay, now, the first point I want to make in helping us understand who the man-child is and where at to place that rapture on God's 7-year timeline that we call Daniel's 70th week is that we need to really look at Revelation chapter 1, verse 1, because so many people skim over that. Let me read to you that verse. Revelation chapter 1, verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. Stop right there in mid-verse. The visions in the book of Revelation, we're being told that those are visions of what must come to pass. Nothing in the book of Revelation, none of the visions are from things that happened before John was shown the visions. So when people say that the Revelation 12:5 man-child who's raptured up is Jesus at his birth or at his ascension, that is, they have missed this important detail in the very first verse of the book of Revelation, because Revelation is talking about things that will be happening. Now, the book of Revelation was written by John right around AD 96. So that's an important detail. So that's the first point I want to make. That's the first clue that Revelation 12:5 is not referring to Christ's birth or to his ascension after his crucifixion, because that had already taken place. Okay, so now for context, let me read Revelation chapter 12, verses 4 through 6. Just 3 verses. And we're going to learn so much from this. So starting with Revelation 12:4 in the King James Version, here's how it reads. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. Verse 6, and the woman fled to the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. All right, now for this second point I want to make, let's ask ourselves this question. When Mary and Joseph were on their way to Bethlehem, there was no room at the inn. They were staying in a stable. She was very pregnant, very ready to deliver. Okay, do we see anywhere in that nativity scene where a third of the red dragon's angels had been thrown down, were standing there in Bethlehem in the stables, ready to devour the Christ child as soon as Mary delivered? No, that is not the situation. You know, in fact, it was quite the opposite. What we do see in that nativity at the birth of Christ is that we see shepherds who'd been told by singing angels to go to Bethlehem and they will see the Christ child. So who is standing in front of the Christ child? It's the humble shepherds. And were they trying to devour the child? No, they were bowed down worshiping him. All right, so now that's the second point of how we know that the Revelation 12:5 man-child that is raptured up to God, to his throne, that's not Jesus as a child. In fact, think about this. The red dragon at Christ's birth didn't even know that Jesus had been born and didn't even know where he was born at. Where do we get that? Oh, look at Herod, who is a type and shadow of the Antichrist. Herod, at that time, didn't know that the Messiah had been born, that King Jesus had been born, and he certainly didn't know where at. That's why he had to send the Magi, telling them, go find out where this king is that's just been born, and come back and tell me. So you see, at that time, Christ's birth, the red dragon did not know the king had been born, and he didn't know where at. Okay, now, the third point that I want to make is there was never a time in Jesus's life after his crucifixion where he needed his Father to snatch him and bring him to his throne. His life was not in danger. He had already been crucified. He laid down his life. He laid down his life to danger. He was not trying to escape it. If you'll notice, after Christ's crucifixion, the word ascended is used numerous times in the New Testament. Look at John 20, verse 17. Jesus saith unto her, touch me not, for I am not yet ascended to my Father. Well, that word ascended is Strong's number G305. It means something very different than harpazo. That mid-trib rapture in Revelation 12:5, that is the rapture of the Gentile and Jewish church. See, after the bride is gone at pre-trib, Jews are going to be grafted back into the church, and they are going to wake up the sleepy church. Them and the 144,000 are going to wake up the sleepy church. They're going to pick up the baton, and they are going to fulfill the Great Commission. They're going to go to all nations, to the Jew first and then the Gentiles. They're going to be preaching the gospel. They're going to be teaching people and getting them ready for that mid-trib rapture, because they'll actually have the day counts for that. Okay, now, this is really important for our channel to teach these little details, because when we gain a fuller understanding, it makes a huge difference in our understanding of all the other prophetic passages. Now listen to this in Luke 11, verses 35 and 36, King James Version. Take heed, therefore, that the light which is in thee be not darkness. If thy whole body therefore be full of light, having no part dark, The whole shall be full of light, as when the bright shining of a candle doth give thee light. So every time we have a church tradition that is not substantiated in the scriptures, that's a dark spot. And we need to get rid of that. And we need to have light shining onto that verse and in our soul and in our spirit so we can teach accurately. All right. Thank you so much for listening all the way to the end. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.